Are sweet dreams made of these? Let's find out. Hi everybody, today I am taking a look at the Kelly Creates Dream Pens. Recently, Michaels added a lettering wall of fabulousness to their stores with like Tombow markers and individual pens and notebooks and brush lettering guides and all the things. And part of that was this new Kelly Creates collaboration. She is a brush lettering person on the interwebs, and she did a bunch of different pens and a bunch of workbooks to learn how to do brush lettering. I wanted to try out some of these pens. People had asked me if I was willing to, and I was like, okay, but my Michaels is small and it doesn't carry things consistently, and it took a few tries before I was able to snag these. I wasn't gonna go order the whole line because honestly, this line is pricier than I would want to spend that much money on. Now, this is coming from the person who just bought a shit ton of Prima watercolors, but I knew I was most likely gonna like those. And with these, I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about them yet, so I didn't want to invest a whole bunch. This is her dream pens. I watched her little video clip, more on that in a minute. And she said that this was exactly what she wanted, a pen that has a large brush on one end and a small brush on the other in the same color. I also have this Rhodia book that I got from Michaels. It's a dot pad. I did not buy her brush lettering books because I just was looking at them and didn't really feel like it. The Rhodia paper is really smooth and won't fray your brush pens when you're practicing with them, which is something that I tend to do since I do a lot of work on cardstock. Going to the back. This revolutionary dual-tipped brush pen features not just one, but two brush tips, a small and a large. Gone are the days of having to choose between your two favorite pens. Now you can have both, all in one. Perfect for practicing your lettering skills with Kelly's Learn Brush Lettering workbooks. Nice product tie-in. All that really tells you is that these pens have a small and a large brush tip. I was like, are they water-based? Like, are they permanent? Are they archival? Like, what the fuck? Is there any other information? I went to the Kelly Creates website and I couldn't find any good information about them there. But I went to the Michaels website, and what they tell you is that they are 10 pens, small and large brush tips for use with Kelly's Learn Brush Lettering workbooks. So that's all we got. Now the price for these puppies is $29.99 for the 10 pack. Now you could say that technically it's a 20 pack because you have a small and a large brush tip. The 10 pack of Tombow markers is on sale as of the recording of this video for $17.99, but normally $26.99, which is cheaper than this. Now the Tombow markers are dual-ended, but one end is a bullet tip and one end is a brush pen. So that may make the difference. This to me is pricier than I probably would have liked, especially for a brand that I have no experience with. And I guess here's where I'm going to add a little bit of my salt, because apparently that's what I'm doing lately, is being salty. I went to the Michaels website to figure out if there was any more information on these pens, and there was, you know, with the information I read you, and then there was a little 2-minute video, and the 2-minute video was very, very calm and mellow, and it was Kelly talking about these pens and how they're her brush pens, her dream brush pens, and how she loves them and she can't wait for you to try them. She named the colors, and it was like something along the lines of like, what did she say? Like ocean, like the depths of the ocean, but there was no information about the pens. And so as there's already so little information about the pens, I was kind of like, why can't I have more information before I buy them? And on the pen itself, there is also no more information. It says Dream Pen and the name, made in China, conforms to, and that's it. We're shit out of luck when it comes to information about like the ink of the pen or whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter necessarily one way or the other. But let's take a look at these pens themselves. I'm going to yoink out this blue one, Ocean, you know, like the depths of the ocean. Let's take a look at it. This is the pen with the two tips. This is the big tip, the broad, the fabulous tip here, which is quite short. I might actually really like that. And then this side is the smaller one. This may be a quibble. It's entirely possible because I am known to be quibbly. These caps do not snap on. You hear the satisfying, like, I'm gonna put it by the microphone. You hear that like satisfying snap of the cap getting put on? Hear me out. This isn't just a like gripe, even though it could be. I have a tendency to not be great about making sure that my shit is firmly capped, and sometimes some of my pens have dried out. Having that little snap is really handy for me because it lets me know that I've actually closed it all the way. So having these, they open like that, but when you close them, they just sort of slide down until like, you're like, is it closed? I don't know. That could mean that these may dry out on me at some point if I don't notice when they're closed. As for the barrel, it's like a matte kind of feel to it. Now the caps sit nicely on top of each other. However, they don't take a lot of pressure on them. So you either need to be Fuck, I don't know if it's closed or not. You either need to be careful when they're capped on top of each other or set the caps to the side. The caps have in them a couple of notches to keep the pen from rolling. They're not super strong, but the pen doesn't seem to roll all that much. So that's cool. Let us grab a different color out since I've been glaring at the blue. Let's grab this one because this one calls to me. This is Blossom. Now let's test out the different size nibs. So we're going to start with the big nib. Look at like the kind of ombre effect that happened with this pen when I'm using like the... That's kind of cool. I like the ombre. So that's the big nib. Now let's look at the small nib. I don't get as much of the ombre effect with the little guy. Now I want to put them kind of next to each other. Let's do like an up into a down stroke. Wait a minute. Those look the same. Hold on. Let's try this again. Here's the big guy. Press down as hard as I can. My firm grip. Now here's the little guy. I swear I am like not seeing that much of a difference. Maybe a little bit of a smallness, but not much. Let's try a different color. Let's try teal. What color is teal? Turquoise. Okay, it's a little bit different. I was just expecting kind of a, I don't know, a little bit of more of a differentiation between the two. This is Jungle. I'm just gonna, instead of doing the little top upstroke, I'm just gonna do a bottom stroke as heavy as I can go. Here it is, the heaviest I go with this pen. Okay, see that I see the difference, but this time I was pushing down so hard I got like the edge on the paper, so maybe. I feel like the difference between the two of these is subtle. It's not like the difference between like a Tombow pen and a Tombow Fude pen. Like that's a major difference, but these are close, but not the same. So what I'm gonna do to get the colors out is I'm gonna write the names of the colors in large and then in small. As I already saw a little bit of bleed through on the Rhodia, I'm going to I put a piece of cardstock underneath it to just try and catch anything. Now remember, writing with a new brush pen when you're not used to it can look a little bit wonky, so please forgive me if my lettering looks a little shitty. I'm gonna do the big end first and then the small end, and I'm just gonna do them one on top of each other so you can see the difference. I was about to write black. It's not called black, it's called midnight. Fail right off the bat. Now, after doing all of this lettering, I definitely have some thoughts. The first thought is that I can't figure out what the fuck the name of these pens are, as you can see from the fuck-ups on here. Second of all, my initial reaction of that the pens themselves, the difference between the two tips is not that big, I think is basically confirmed by this. Like, there is a difference in terms of looking at it, but it's not much. There is, however, a big difference in terms of the feel of each of the nibs. The big nib, the large nib, is very firm, much like a Tombow. I actually found it to be the more comfortable, easier to control of the two as someone with an iron fist, which is my outlook on this. And you go into it, like my transition right here, I was able to slide right into that transition, and like my transition into the upstroke. Like, it just, there isn't a lot of that, like, choppiness that happens when you can't control your brush pen. Where, like, when you're sliding into it, and I'll show you, because I'm going to use the smaller one, and you're going to see this the problem. Smaller tip is much floppier. Like, watch this. Like, I was able to go into that transition okay. Actually, I'm not having any trouble with that right now. Of course not. Not now that I'm pointing it out. But now look at those. They look almost exactly the same. And the problem I was having with the smaller one versus the larger one was that because the nib is so floppy, it was really hard for me to control in between like, you can see when you're looking at coral here how like sloppy the smaller one looks. I mean, the top one isn't perfect or anything either, but the coral here, blossom here, the bottom one, it just looks sloppier than the larger one because I was having a little bit of trouble controlling it. But the thing I will say though is because of the slenderness of this nib gives you a very nice downstroke, but its upstroke can get so small that you have an awesome variation between the two if you can control it. Whereas with the large one, you still can get that, but it's a lot more difficult to get a skinnier stroke, like you can see right here. Like I didn't get a very thin upstroke just because of how like hard I was pressing on the nib. So I found so I guess to sum that up, the large nib to me is more comfortable and easier to control, but the smaller one, if I could control it, offered the bigger distinction between up and down strokes. These are really beautiful colors. I do love I was on the fence when I saw this purple, and it's kind of like a dusty-ish dark purple, and I was hoping for something a little bit brighter. But together, like as a whole, they really do fit together really nicely. I've been a little sassy about the names, but honestly, like they fit. It's just, they're very pretty. And I would say out of the whole pile of these colors, I love the turquoise and the coral the most. I think they're both just stunning colors. One of the things I also noticed, which I saw here, is that the larger marker offers like kind of an ombre effect, like maybe it deposits more color down when you're first writing with it. You can get the same ombre effect with a Crayola. Like, I mean, these are cheaper. These were like $3 for a pack of 10, if that. I'm just saying. I can't test any real claims because there aren't any. I don't know. I'd almost rather have preferred that these come with different colors on either end. The Zig Brushables. These pens come with 2 large brush tips, but one is a dark color and one is a lighter color. Like if these had come like that, maybe I think they would have been more of a dream pen for me, I guess. But this isn't my dream, this is her dream, and I'm glad that she was able to realize it. These are not shitty brush pens. They work okay. Like I think that the bigger, I've heard from some people that they prefer the smaller tip, but I actually prefer the bigger one because it's more comfortable for me. But I'm also not somebody who really likes to letter with looser, smaller, like finer brush pens. I prefer the big fucking honkers because they stand up to the iron fist of my life. This whole 2 sizes on these pens is kind of lost on me. Like I can see why someone might like it, but there's just not enough difference between the 2 nibs for me to really think that this is an excellent feature. So they offer some other brush pens in the collection, and like I said, it's hard for me to find them, so I don't even know if I'm gonna test them or not. But when it comes to whether or not this is worth the money, which is kind of where I've been kind of wanting to go with this review, because these were $30 and I went into this thinking these better be the fucking holy grail pens for me to spend that much. I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration because I'm sure there are more expensive pens, but like that's pricey for a set of brush pens from an unknown quantity. To me, they better be nice if they're gonna be worth the price. No, they're not worth the price for me. If you got like a 40% off coupon, maybe they'd be worth the price, but even then, I'm not sure. Though on the same note, looking at the website, they carry a 10-pack of multicolor small brush pens that have a very similar color combination to these, except it looks like there's no orange and there's a gray, and those are $27.99. And they're not dual tipped. So I guess this is a better value than those ones are because you get more tips, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm wishing I am wishing I had more than a 20% off coupon when I bought these, but I did get this pad, which so far I'm liking. I guess you can call it a wash. If you've got some money to burn and you want to try them out, I'd say give them a shot. But if you have a chance to try someone else's before you try them, I would suggest you do that because to me, it's just not, the combination of the 2 brush tips is not really worth the price for me. However, I am going to use them because I do like the firmer brush nib. So there is that, and I like the color selection. I'm kind of nonplussed at the price. I think if these were less expensive, then I think I would feel a little differently about it. But because they are, I feel like I should hold them to a slightly higher standard, and they're not meeting that. Am I going to try more items from this collection? God, I don't even know. A, it depends on if my Michaels carries them. B, I know I'm not gonna buy the smaller brush tip set because I already know I don't like it, but I may try the metallic set because I do love me some metallics, and these are the metallic jewel set, although it doesn't say which size brush these are. Like, are the metallic pens the large brush or the small brush? I don't know. True to the fucking Michaels situation, there is no information. There's also a 3-pack of brush pens that come in large, medium, and fine, and I'm not entirely certain how that translates to these because there's a large and a small, but medium or fine, which one is small? I don't know. Maybe part of my issue right now that I'm having, like looking at this whole collection, it's like a cool idea, but they didn't put enough thought into the information they were going to give you. They're just like, try these brush pens and here's some brush lettering notebooks. Don't even worry about it, but not tell you what the ink type is like or give you like some basis for comparison as to how big or small you should expect. Like large and small, looking at this is not what I would have expected, you know? And again, maybe this line is meant for beginners, going along with like the marketing on the back of this saying Kelly's Learn Lettering workbooks. And, you know, this is meant for people who maybe don't know anything about brush lettering yet. But for someone like me who may not be a master at it, but at least I've had some experience with brush pens, I find the lack of information surrounding this collection and the lack of details to be really irritating. I'm gonna keep using them. I spent money on them. Yes, I did. And I like the large ones, but my reaction to these pens overall, if I can sum it up with one emotion, is meh. Have you tried the pens from this collection? What do you think? Remember that this is just my opinion and that if you really love them, I'm not saying that you suck ass for loving them. I'm saying I didn't really care for them all that much. But I would love to know in the comments what you thought about them down below, or if you're intending to try any of the products from this collection. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.